Prasad. I'll initiate the Shivpuran reading now, starting with the synopsis. Last week, we read chapter 5 of SataRudrasamhita of volume 3 of Shivpuran. In this, we read that Shiva narrated about 19 more incarnations of himself to Brahma. In the 10th aeon of Dwapara, Shiva would have 4 sons of Bhagratunga, peak of Himavat. In the 11th Dwapara, he, that is Shiva, would be born as Kali at Gangadwara and will have 4 sons. In the 12th aeon, he would be born to render help to Vyasa as a reviver of the path of renunciation and will have 4 sons. In the 13th aeon, he would be born as great sage Bali and will have 4 auspicious sons. In the 14th aeon, Shiva would be born as Gautama. In the 15th aeon, Shiva would be born as Vedasaras and will have 4 auspicious sons. In 16th, he would be born as Gokarna for imparting instructions in yoga and will have 4 yogin sons. In the 17th aeon, he'll be born as Govasin and will have 4 sons. In the 18th aeon, he will be born as Sikandin and will have 4 auspicious sons. In the 19th aeon, Shiva would be born as Jati and Malin and will have 4 auspicious sons. In the 20th, he would be at Atasa and will have 4 sons who will be experts in yoga. In the 21st aeon, he'll be born as Daruka and will have 4 auspicious sons. In the 22nd, he'll be born as a great sage called Langali Bhima and will have 4 ferocious sons. In the 23rd aeon, he will be born as Sweta and will have 4 auspicious sons. In 24th, he'll be born as the Sulin, a great yogin, and will have 4 virtuous disciples. In the 25th aeon, Shiva would be the great yogin Mundiswara and will be armed with a staff. In 26th aeon, he'll be born as Hinsnu and will have 4 virtuous disciples. In the 27th aeon, Shiva will be born of Somasarman. In the 28th aeon, he'll be known as Lakulin when he'll enter the dead body of Yogin. Shiva explained to Brahma that all the disciples of Shiva will smear their bodies with the holy ashes and will wear necklaces of Rudraksha beads as ornaments and mark their heads with Tripundra. They all would be devoted eternally and internally in the worship of phallic image of Shiva. He also told Brahma that in every recurring Dwapara, there are 28 Vyasas and each incarnation of Shiva has 4 disciples of Sun who makes the path of yoga flourish and are eternal devotees of Shiva. After saying this and blessing Brahma, Lord Shiva vanished from there. Today, we'll read chapter 6, the incarnations of Nandiswara. Shruti Auntie will be reading the chapter in English and Rachna Auntie will be reading in Hindi. Bahut bahut shukrana.
Jai Guruji everyone. Today we'll be reading chapter 6, the incarnation of Nandishvara. Sanat Kumara said, O Lord, how did you happen to be born of Mahadeva and gain access to Shiva? I wish to hear. Please narrate everything in detail. Nandishvara said, O sage Sanat Kumara, O omniscient one, listen with attention as to how I was born of Mahadeva and how I gained access to Shiva. Urged eagerly by the mains who desired their uplift Silada, piously thought of raising them up. He was therefore desirous of a progeny. For that he of great potentiality performed a penance with his drooping eyes. He had the same activities as the sages. He went to Sivaloka. That sage Silada performed a severe penance with Indra in view for a long time. His mind was steady and he was steadfast in his activities. Indra was delighted at his penance. He, the Lord of gods, went to him in order to grant him the boon. Indra lovingly spoke to Silada, O excellent sage, O sinless one, I am delighted with you. Therefore, choose your boons. Bowing to the Lord of gods and eulogizing him with holy hymns, Silada, the most excellent sage, told him with palms joined in reverence. Silada said, O Lord of gods, O Indra, if you are pleased with me, I wish to have a son of holy rites, free of death and not born of a womb. Indra said, O desirer of a son, I can give you only a son born of a womb and sure to die. I cannot give it to you otherwise. There are no persons who can escape death. I shall not give you a son devoid of death and not born of a womb. O great sage, even Lord Vishnu and Brahma die, not to speak of others then. Even those two, born of Shiva, the destroyer of the Tripuras, die. The extent of their longevity has been mentioned separately in the scared lore. Hence, O great Brahmin, abandon your desire of deathless son, who is not born of a womb, except a son befitting your mortal nature. But if Shiva, the Lord of gods, becomes delighted, even an immortal son not born of a womb, though hard to get, may be obtained. Neither I, nor Lord Vishnu, nor Brahma, O great sage, can give an immortal son not born of a womb. Propitiate Lord Shiva, therefore, for the fulfillment of your desire for such a son. The great Lord of all is very powerful. He will give you a son. Nandiswara said, O sage, after speaking thus to the great Brahmin and blessing him, the compassionate lords of gods returned to his region surrounded by the gods. When the granter of boons, the thousand-eyed Lord Indra, had gone away, Silada propitiated Lord Shiva. He delighted Shiva by means of his penance. As the Brahmin was engrossed in penance day and night, 1,000 divine years elapsed like a moment. His body was covered with antil. He was surrounded by 100,000 worms with pointed beaks as hard as adamant and other types of blood-sucking insects all round. He remained in the cavity with his flesh and blood drained up. He was left with a bare skeleton. The excellent sage Silada was reduced to such a state. The delighted Lord showed him his divine body, endowed with all divine qualities and inaccessible to people of crooked intellect. As he continued the penance for 1,000 divine years, the trident-bearing Lord of all gods spoke to him. I am here, the granter of boons. The great sage Silada, engrossed in the great trance, did not hear those words of Shiva, who is subservient to the devotees. Only when the great sage was touched by the slayer of Tripuras did he leave off his penance. O sage, on seeing Shiva accompanied by Parvati after opening his eyes, he immediately bowed to him and fell at his feet with joy. The delighted Silada, drooping down his shoulders with palms joined in reverence, eulogized Lord Shiva with words choked with pleasure. Then the delighted Lord of gods, the three-eyed deity, told the great sage, I am the granter of boons. O intelligent one, what shall be done with this penance? I shall give you a son who will be omniscient and a master of all sacred lore. On hearing that, the sage Silada bowed to the moon-crested Lord and spoke in words choked with pleasure. Silada said, O Lord Shiva, if you are delighted, if you are ready to grant boons, I wish for a son equal to you, devoid of death and not born of a womb. Nandiswara said, when thus requested by him, the three-eyed Lord Shiva delightedly replied to the excellent sage Silada. Shiva said, O Brahman, O sage, formerly I have been propitiated by means of penance by Brahma, by sages and by leading gods and urged to take an incarnation. O sage, I shall become your son by the name of Nandin. I shall not be born of a womb. Thus you shall be my father, of me who am the father of the worlds. Nandishwara said, after addressing these words to the sage who stood waiting after bowing, the merciful Lord Shiva gave him his directions and vanished there itself along with Parvati. After Lord Shiva had disappeared, the great sage Silada returned to his hermitage and mentioned the tidings of the sage. After a short while, my father, the foremost among those who knew these sacrificial rites, ordered for the construction of the sacrificial altar for the performance of sacrifice. But before the beginning of sacrifice, I was born as Shiva's son at his bidding, with a luster as brilliant as the fire at the end of Yuga. Then Pushkar Vartaka and other clouds showered. When I was born as the son of Silada, the Kinnaras, Siddhas, Sadhyas, and other beings walked through the sky, and the great sages made showers of flowers all around. The Brahma and other gods, together with their wives, Vishnu, Shiva, and Parvati, came there lovingly. There was a great jubilation. The celestial damsels danced. After honoring me of all them, delightedly eulogized my phallic image. After praising Silada and eulogizing Shiva and Parvati by reciting good hymns, all of them returned to their respective abodes. Shiva and Shiva, the lords of goddess of all, went away too. On seeing me, the boy with 3 eyes, 4 arms, and luster like that of Yama, sun and fire, and clad in matted hair and corned, Silada was highly delighted. I was in the form of Rudra, in every respect with the trident and other weapons. He bowed to me lovingly. Silada said, O Lord of gods, since I have been delighted by you, you will be named Nandin. Hence I bow to you, bliss incarnate, the Lord of the universe. Nandishvara said, My delighted father, after bowing to the great Lord, returned to his hut with me, as pleased as an indigent person who had struck a treasure trove. O great sage, when I reached the hut, I cast off my divine's form and assumed the human one. After seeing me assuming human form, my father, honored by the world, was disgraced and so lamented, surrounded by his own people. The son of Salankanyana, Silada, fond of his son, performed all the postnatal rites for me. Within 5 years, my father taught me all the Vedas with their Angas and Upangas, as well as other sacred texts. When I completed the age of 7, the 2 sages, Mitra and Varna, came to the hermitage at the bidding of the Lord in order to see me. Duly welcomed by sage and seated on their seats, the great sages of noble soul looked at me again and said, Mitra and Varna said, O dear sage, although he has mastered the sacred lore, your son Nandin will be short-lived. I do not see his life more than a year from now. When the Brahmin said this, Silada, fond of his son, was much distressed. He lamented loudly after embracing me. On seeing my father and grandfather fallen like a dead body, I spoke after remembering the lotus-like feet of Shiva with a delightful mind. O father, what is your distress for which you tremble and cry? I wish to know correctly whence this misery has come to you. The father said, O son, I am much distressed at the thought of your early death. Who can remove my misery? I shall indeed refuge seek in him. The son said, Even if the gods, demons, Yama and Kala, were to be angry with me, or even if it be any person, I will not be short-lived. Do not be grieved. O father, I speak the truth. I take a vow unto you. The father said, What is your penance? What is your knowledge? What is your yoga? Who is your Lord? Whereby, O son, you propose to ward off my terrible misery. The son said, O God, I shall deceive death by means of my penance, not learning. By worshipping great God, I will conquer death, not otherwise. Nandishvara said, O sage, after saying this and bowing at his feet and circumambulating my father, I went to the excellent forest. Jai Guruji. I will request now Rachna Aunty to come and read the Hindi reading. Shukrana Guruji. Thank you.
Jai Guruji, Shukrana Guruji for this beautiful seva. नंदीश्वर अवतार का वर्णन। यहाँ तक 42 अवतारों का वर्णन किया गया। अब नंदीश्वर अवतार का वर्णन किया जाता है। सनत कुमार जी ने पूछा, प्रभु, आप महादेव के अंश से उत्पन्न होकर पीछे शिव को कैसे प्राप्त हुए? वह सारा वृतांत मैं सुनना चाहता हूँ, उसे वर्णन करने की कृपा करें। नंदीश्वर बोले, सर्वज्ञ सनत कुमार जी, मैं जिस प्रकार महादेव के अंश से जन्म लेकर शिव को प्राप्त हुआ उस प्रसंग का वर्णन करता हूँ। तुम सावधानी पूर्वक श्रवण करो। शिलाद नामक एक धर्मात्मा मुनि थे। पितरों के आदेश से उन्होंने अयोनिज सुव्रत मृत्युहीन पुत्री प्राप्ति के लिए तप करके देवेश्वर इंद्र को प्रसन्न किया, परंतु देवराज इंद्र ने ऐसा पुत्र प्रदान करने में अपने को असमर्थ बताकर सर्वेश्वर महाशक्ति संपन्न महादेव की आराधना करने का उपदेश दिया। तब शिलाद भगवान महादेव को प्रसन्न करने के लिए तप करने लगे। उनके तप से प्रसन्न होकर महादेव वहाँ पधारे और महासमाधि मग्न शिलाद को थपथपाकर जगाया। तब शिलाद ने शिव का स्तवन किया और भगवान शिव के उन्हें वर देने के को प्रस्तुत होने पर उनसे कहा, प्रभु, मैं आपके ही समान मृत्युहीन अनोयिच पुत्र चाहता हूँ। तब शिवजी प्रसन्न होकर मुनि से बोले। शिवजी ने कहा, तपोधन विप्र, पूर्व काल में ब्रह्मा जी ने, मुनियों ने तथा बड़े बड़े देवताओं ने मेरे अवतार धारण करने के लिए तपस्या द्वारा मेरी आराधना की थी। इसलिए मुने, यद्यपि मैं सारे जगत का पिता हूँ, फिर भी तुम मेरे पिता बनोगे और मैं तुम्हारा अयोनिज पुत्र होऊंगा तथा मेरा नाम नंदी होगा। नंदीश्वर जी कहते हैं, मुने, यों कहकर कृपालु शंकर ने अपने चरणों में प्रणिपात करके सामने खड़े हुए शिलाद मुनि की ओर कृपा दृष्टि से देखा और उन्हें ऐसा आदेश दे वे तुरंत ही उमा सहित वहीं अंतर्ध्यान हो गए। महादेव जी के चले जाने के पश्चात महामुनि शिलाद ने अपने आश्रम में आकर ऋषियों से वह सारा वृतांत कह सुनाया। कुछ समय बीत जाने के बाद जब यज्ञ वेताओं में श्रेष्ठ मेरे पिताजी यज्ञ करने के लिए यज्ञ क्षेत्र को जोत रहे थे, उसी समय मैं शंभु की आज्ञा से यज्ञ के पूर्व ही उनके शरीर से उत्पन्न हो गया। उस समय मेरे शरीर की प्रभा युगांतकालीन अग्नि के समान थी। तब सारी दिशाओं में प्रसन्नता छा गई और शिलाद मुनि की भी बड़ी प्रशंसा हुई। उधर शिलाद ने भी जब मुझ बालक को प्रयत्नकालीन सूर्य और अग्नि के सदृश प्रभाशाली, त्रिनेत्र, चतुर्भुज, प्रकाशमान, जटा मुकुटधारी, त्रिशूल आदि आयुधों से युक्त सर्वथा रुद्र रूप में देखा, तब वे महान आनंद में निमग्न हो गए और मुझ प्रणम्य को नमस्कार करते हुए कहने लगे। शिलाद बोले, सुरेश्वर, चूँकि तुमने नंदी नाम से प्रकट होकर मुझे आनंदित किया है, इसलिए मैं तुम आनंद में जगदीश्वर को नमस्कार करता हूँ। नंदीश्वर जी कहते हैं, मुने, तदनंतर जैसे निर्धन को निधि प्राप्त हो जाने से प्रसन्नता होती है, उसी प्रकार मेरी प्राप्ति से हर्षित होकर पिताजी ने महेश्वर की भली भांति वंदना की और फिर मुझे लेकर वे शीघ्र ही अपनी पर्णशाला को चल दिए। महामुने, जब मैं शिलाद की कुटिया में पहुंच गया, तब मैंने अपने उस रूप का परित्याग करके मनुष्य रूप धारण कर लिया। तदनंतर शालंकायन नंदन पुत्र वत्सल शिलाद ने मेरे जात कर्म आदि सभी संस्कार संपन्न किए। फिर 5वें वर्ष में पिताजी ने मुझे सांगोपांग संपूर्ण वेदों का तथा अन्यान्य शास्त्रों का भी अध्ययन कराया। 7वां वर्ष पूरा होने पर शिवजी की आज्ञा से मित्र और वरुण नाम के मुनि मुझे देखने के लिए पिताजी के आश्रम पर पधारे। शिलाद मुनि ने उनकी पूरी आवभगत की। जब वे दोनों महात्मा मुनीश्वर आनंद पूर्वक आसन पर विराज गए, तब मेरी ओर बारंबार निहार कर बोले। मित्र और वरुण ने कहा, ताज शिलाद, यद्यपि तुम्हारा पुत्र नंदी संपूर्ण शास्त्रों के अर्थों का पारगामी विद्वान है, तथापि इसकी आयु बहुत थोड़ी है। हमने बहुत तरह से विचार करके देखा, परंतु इसकी आयु 1 वर्ष से अधिक नहीं दिखती। उन विप्रवरों के यूँ कहने पर पुत्र वत्सल शिलाद नंदी को छाती से लिपटाकर दुखार्थ हो फूट फूट कर रोने लगा। तब पिता और पितामह को मृतक की भांति भूमि पर पड़ा हुआ देख नंदी शिवजी के चरण कमलों का स्मरण करके प्रसन्नता पूर्वक पूछने लगे, पिताजी, आपको कौन सा ऐसा दुख आ पड़ा है जिसके कारण आपका शरीर कांप रहा है और आप रो रहे हैं? आपको वह दुख कहाँ से प्राप्त हुआ? मैं इसे ठीक ठीक जानना चाहता हूँ। पिता ने कहा, बेटा, तुम्हारी अल्पायु के दुख से मैं अत्यंत दुखी हो रहा हूँ। तुम ही बताओ, मेरे इस कष्ट को कौन दूर कर सकता है? मैं उसकी शरण ग्रहण करूँ। पुत्र बोला, पिताजी, मैं आपके सामने शपथ करता हूँ और यह बिल्कुल सत्य बात कह रहा हूँ कि चाहे देवता, दानव, यम, काल तथा अन्यान्य प्राणी ये सब के सब मिलकर मुझे मारना चाहें तो भी मेरी बाल्यकाल में मृत्यु नहीं होगी, अतः आप दुखी मत हो। पिता ने पूछा, मेरे प्यारे लाल, तुमने ऐसा कौन सा तप किया है अथवा तुम्हें कौन सा ऐसा ज्ञान, योग या ऐश्वर्य प्राप्त है जिसके बल पर तुम इस दारुण दुख को नष्ट कर दोगे? पुत्र ने कहा, तात, मैं ना तो तप से मृत्यु को हटाऊंगा और न विद्या से। मैं महादेव जी के भजन से मृत्यु को जीत लूँगा। उसके अतिरिक्त अन्य कोई उपाय नहीं है। नंदीश्वर जी कहते हैं, मुने, यूँ कहकर मैंने सर झुकाकर पिताजी के चरणों में प्रणाम किया और फिर उनकी प्रदक्षिणा करके उत्तम वन की राह ली। अध्याय 6 समाप्त। शुक्राना गुरुजी। जय गुरुजी।